Whew, that, my friends, was painful. Yet somehow, some way, the Suns outlasted the Los Angeles Clippers, won by 4 by a final score of 84-80. Feels like a 80s game or a 90s game there with all the defense and just lack of shooting. I mean, seriously, 9 total for three-pointers were made in this game. But you know what? Champions adjust, and that's what the Phoenix Suns did tonight. They began as the aggressor, and they ended with more points on the scoreboard. And now we are 1 win away from the NBA Finals. Welcome, everybody, to the Suns Jam Session and Solar Panel Podcast. My name is John, and just giving everybody a quick reminder to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're consuming this content, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe. If you're listening, do all that fun stuff too. But as I welcome in all of my cohorts, and Matthew, how you feeling?
What's up? I feel great, man. I feel really good. I love how you asked after a win. I asked it
after
right?
the loss last time, and you said good.
And I feel bad. Oh, did I say good?
Yes,
okay,
you
we'll
did.
bring the
Yes,
other
you
dudes
did.
on. Espo,
how you doing?
I am good. The Suns get the Pat Beverly of wins, ugly but effective, and I will take it. All right. I think if you looked at me this morning at 8 a.m. when we did the show and me now, I look 10 years older. That's what that game
I was
did
thinking
to me.
when he came on, the same exact thing. So.
Holy crap. There was no
Saul.
gray in the beard earlier.
Saul and Espo are literally wearing the same shirts they wore this morning on the Sun Solar Panel Podcast. Fantastic. How you doing, Saul? How you feeling? Do we have Happy Saul back?
I'm feeling pretty good. I will say though, I did use Just for Men today, and it was all black, and then the game happened. So there it is.
That was in his nether regions, though, so you can't see it.
Oh,
See, Espo, you didn't even have to go there. Like what?
we all could do the math. We figured it out. You know, with Manscaped being a sponsor of both of our shows, it's obvious that you get Just for Men. For the chin fro and the ball fro.
The Suns just did it, baby. Let's go.
We all have
Yes.
the genitalias. We got to tell the fans about it, right?
Yes, we got to let them know.
Let's go.
Let's go. I don't know where to go after that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remind everybody that it's chugging with the fellas time.
Yes.
We win. We chug with the fellas. Matthew, it looks like you've got a Four Peaks Sun Brew. Fantastic.
Yep. Leftover.
Espo and Saul, what do you have?
I have a Dos Equis in my glass, but I also have a Crooked Stave sour that I'm going to sip on through the rest of the show.
I love it. I love it. See, what I love about Saul is he's got the good taste in beers. He likes the sours. That is a true beer drinker. Espo, however, what's in that glass?
Straight vodka, because that's what this game requires.
Well,
I need
cheers.
a drink, damn it.
Cheers to everybody chugging with the fellas. Put them back. That's great audio. That is fantastic audio.
Damn.
Well done, everybody. Well done, Phoenix Suns. Well done, Phoenix Suns. Because you know what? You have to win all kinds of games. And so far in this series, through their first 3 wins out of 4 games, they've shown us that they can win in all kinds of games. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and drop the beat. Let's talk about this victory over the Los Angeles Clippers. Yes, it is an 84-80 victory for the Phoenix Suns over the Los Angeles Clippers in Game 4, which was another 3-hour game. 2 of our 3 wins have come via the 3-hour assortment. Just give me some initial thoughts as we go around the podcast here on how you're feeling after this long, drawn-out, stressful, the Suns only scoring, 34 points in the second half victory.
I have never felt better to owe Dave King a dinner than I do after this. That's a win. And if they had lost, this would have felt like crap. But in a win, it feels beautiful because you're heading home 3-1 with a chance to close them out in front of the loudest crowd in the NBA on Monday night. And that's all that you wanted coming out of LA. So I'm feeling good.
My biggest takeaway right now, and it was an ugly game. It was, but man, I was hoping they would win just so I could talk about Deandre mother effing Ayton and how amazing he was tonight. I know we're gonna get to Ayton watch, so I won't spoil
Yeah.
it too much.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I love that dude. I love him.
Yeah, hold it for then. But one is the loneliest number, right, for the Clippers. They were down by 1 for how long in this game? 12 minutes maybe, and they could not get over the hump.
5 minutes from 10:07 to I think 6:37.
Okay, I'm glad someone tracked it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
there's
were
two
down
things
by
I want to
one
track.
and could not get over the hump.
I wanted someone to track that, and also Devin Booker with and without the mask and his stats. But I guess those didn't really matter too much. It didn't vary too much.
Well, it was
He
definitely
sucked either way.
Yeah, there you
it
go.
was an ugly stats night for everybody.
Yeah.
There's nobody who you're going to go through the box score and go, you know what? They had a fantastic game, except Deandre Ayton, and we'll get to him momentarily. But I will say, as the game began, you saw those adjustments right off the bat. It was a much more crisp start to the game for the Phoenix Suns. There was more energy. You look at the first 4 plays and the first 10 points that they scored. It was a pick and roll to Ayton, a CP3 midi, a Booker layup, and a Jay Crowder 3. And then it was a timeout by the Los Angeles Clippers. And you knew right then, this is Monty Williams showing you that he has made the adjustments. And it shows you that the Suns executed those adjustments. And you knew coming right into this game that we were going to have a much different feel than what we saw in game 3. This was a little bit more physical for the Suns. They were allowed to be a little bit more physical going on. And I'm not saying that they got away with fouls. I'm just saying that they were more aggressive and they were willing to put their body up against the Clippers and not allow them to just kind of walk all over them like they did in game 3.
Just really quick. One thing I wanted to watch was really Terrence Mann versus Cameron Payne coming off the bench. The energy there, because that last game the Suns lost, last game was basically Terrence Mann came out. He was just a hero, but he actually started the game. He came off the bench. So I'm like, how would Payne match that? The first half, it was good. Of course, Payne kind of like wandered off in the second half. He didn't do too much, but they did match that energy early. In the second half, I mean, both teams were just so terribly. Suns were in and out of the basket, right? All their shots looked like good shots. It was just in and out. And that was really the difference. And the Clippers just could not take advantage of that.
Yeah, I had a couple things that I was kind of confounded about tonight. Not only, obviously, both teams apparently just don't know what a basket is in the fourth quarter, but I was really confounded about substitutions. Like Abdel Nader got a lot more run than I thought he would. My boy Torrey Craig didn't even see the floor until the last minute of the game. I was like, what is going on tonight? It was just really an odd game from beginning to finish. And then I even said, DA was having this phenomenal game, but they weren't, again, like I said this morning, like I would like to see them run some action for him. They sub in Dario, and the first time they come down the court, they run action for Dario to post up. I'm like, what? So it was just an odd game from beginning to end.
15-14 in the fourth quarter. 15-14
in an NBA game.
Western Conference Finals. We're not talking middle of March where guys are just screwing around. This is 15-14 in the Western Conference Finals. But the thing is, and one of the commenters said it, this is the kind of game that Suns teams in the past don't win because they don't have the defense and the toughness to stay in there and keep it together. This team did. They built on a foundation of playing tough defense, and that showed tonight because they came through, and when the Clippers were playing tough on them, they were matching it beat for beat on the other end of the court. And that they knew they had to do that because that's what the Clippers brought. And again, Paul George doesn't come through in the end for him. They had a chance there, and they could not finish it out for the Clippers. And thank God for Chris Paul at the free throw line. I know he missed one of those, but he comes up with a big rebound. Just and props to Monty for not being one of those coaches that goes, I'm not going to foul up 3. I'm not going to do it. He committed to that and said, no, we're going to do it every freaking time. If you're going to beat us, you're going to do it at the free throw line.
That is something you don't see very often. And you can do that when you have guys like Devin Booker and Chris Paul in the fold where they're basically automatic from the free throw line, right? But, I mean, I haven't seen it to that degree where basically for the last 45 seconds it was like, nah, we're not giving you a 3. We're fouling you every single time.
Which makes sense. This is the best 3-point shooting team in the league. Why give them any opportunity? especially when Devin Booker has fouled out. Why would you give them an opportunity to hit a game time three that could put into overtime and you're down, you're offensively your best player? So I think it's a genius strategy by Monty Williams. The only strategy, lever that he pulled in that final minute that went on for 4 hours that I didn't agree with in any way, shape, or form was why the fuck was Dario Saric in the game? At any point, why is he in the game?
Well,
right?
He was in there for rebounding only.
Yeah, which he got an offensive foul on.
He
That
did.
should have been
No.
a foul,
Almost
though.
turned the ball over.
He got defensive foul. Yeah.
Let's
Or
be
defensive,
fair.
I'm sorry.
Loose
There
ball,
was that whole situation was that's Dario because
Yeah.
he gets the foul, right? But then he tips the ball out that gets to Chris Paul on the other missed free throw. So that's Dario.
So he has to do that to evolve into a really special player on the next play.
This would have been the only time, Espo, that I would have been like, oh my God, if we only had a quality backup big.
I told you it would rear its ugly head, and it almost
On the
did.
free
All right.
throw.
It's like so
Almost did.
close to, so close to like these teams winning these games because of our lack of backup bigs. But in the end, for some reason, the Suns are winning this game. And I really say for some reason, because I have no idea how the hell they won this game. They do win the game, so it doesn't matter. So we don't talk about it as much.
I can tell you why they're winning the game. It's because we have the only big that matters.
Ayton Watch 2021.
Deandre Ayton. Okay, now I'm going to preface this. This is kind of like a positive negative thing, but when both teams shoot from the field the way that they did in this game, the Suns shot a total of 36% from the field. The Clippers shot 32%. They made 27 baskets. The Suns made 31. Okay, I've seen teams do that in a half. There's going to be a lot of rebounds, and you know what? You need to have a guy who's going to go and get those rebounds, and that man tonight was Deandre Ayton, and I was tracking him through the entire game. 11 points, 6 rebounds in the first quarter, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks in the second, 2 points, 8 fucking rebounds in the second, and 2 blocks in the third quarter, and 2 points, 5 rebounds in the fourth. Obviously, when you go back and you hear those numbers, 15 points in the first half, 4 points in the second half, but then 9 rebounds in the first half, total of 13 rebounds in the second half. He ends with a total of 19 points and 22 rebounds tonight, including 9 offensive rebounds. In a game that ends 84-80, every one of those offensive rebounds is an opportunity to lead to second chance points. Deandre Ayton is a man amongst men. As this team is up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals, if they can somehow close this out in Game 5 at home, Deandre Ayton is your Western Conference Finals MVP. There's no question.
Yeah.
Am I right?
No, I completely agree. Go ahead, Espo. You got thoughts. Go ahead.
I was just to say his 4 points in the second half were like 60% of their output as a team. So don't hold that against him. You know, and look, the man was a vacuum out there tonight. He was sucking in all the rebounds, and he was doing that on the defensive end too. 4 blocks. I mean, technically, he probably should have had 5. There was another one that he got called a foul on, but he was just fantastic when you needed him to be. I mean, he was 8 of 14 from the field. You take that out, and a bad shooting night becomes an atrocious shooting night. Without his 8 of 14 in there. It's not pretty.
You know, we were talking about how there's no way Devin Booker and Chris Paul could ever go 10 for 40 again, or 10 for 40. And
they didn't.
All they did was go 14 for 44.
See? Not 10 for 40. So technically,
I
don't know Dave Dinner.
Even that was out of the realm of possibility. But DA, my gosh, even there was a point in the game where, obviously the Clippers were trying to score just a bucket to take the lead. And DA switched up, and I believe it was Frank Jackson on the perimeter. I think it might
Jackson.
Reggie Jackson.
God,
I do love
Reggie
Frank Jackson though.
Reggie Jackson on the
I
perimeter.
love taking
and he D'd him up and blocked his shot. And it was just like, man, like with a guy back there, it just gives everybody else so much confidence to be able to play a little bit more physical, not stupid. And we'll get to that in a second because there were some fouls that were just plain dumb tonight. Devin Booker. And so, I
Par
just
for the course.
yeah. But DeAndre, I mean, his composure, his excitement, his energy. Remember how many times we've talked about during the course of his career, like he just seems like he's going through the motions out there. There is no doubt he is definitely not doing that in these playoffs, especially in the Western Conference Finals. And you're right. If they win on Monday, he's got to be the MVP because he's been the most consistent from game 1 to game 5 and possibly the best player out there.
Do they actually give a conference finals MVP, or we just?
No, they don't. We do though. We can give it out. We'll hand it
Jam
out.
star of the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, shout out to No Dunks too. This is a lot of beef, right? I think they give away an award when someone gets 20 rebounds. Espo, you a fan of No Dunks?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of beef tonight.
A whole lot of beef. Yeah, he did that. And I love Twitter too today. They're like, keep feeding DA in the second half. And I think Monty probably went into halftime and said something about that because I think the first 2 plays were drawn out to get DA the ball. He fumbled them away and he didn't have an opportunity to really do much with it. So they kind of went away from that. But you can kind of see like they were actually like, DA's taking over, giving the ball. In this series, if he can get a good handle on the ball, he is basically like a Shaq down there against Zubac. He can't be stopped. If he has any opportunity to have the ball in the paint, he's going to score with the hook shot. So it looked like they were looking towards that. I think more of him getting the ball is something maybe next season where they have a good off season to really draw up good plays, get him more involved with the offense, because right now it always seems like, he has a good first half and then the second half, it's just hard to get him the ball.
They forget about him.
They do, but I honestly think too the rebounds itself is the only thing that really matters tonight with both teams doing terrible. So you can't really
got to get those possessions.
Offensive, so that was the most important thing.
But at the same time, and I don't want to go down to a negative road. I want to stay positive tonight. But at the same time, you literally had a stretch of like 8 minutes where you didn't get a bucket. Not one time could you call a play for my man to get the ball down low and just try it.
Yeah.
You got Devin Booker
110%.
chucking threes and he's 0 for 6 from 3. It's like just once. See if he comes through, and then maybe you try it again if he does. Like you had nothing going whatsoever. And let's be honest though, I don't know if I've ever seen a game where a team missed so many shots that were just in and out. I'm like, you thought it was going in. You're like, what?
Yes.
Oh, frustrating.
Yeah.
Frustrating.
Well, shout out to Blaze Megatron real quick in the chat. He's not only a flaming baller, but also an elite jamster. He says, Ayton is our steadiest player. Ayton Watch was kind of created to analyze his up and down performances game to game. Now it's all love. And it's great how that has evolved. When you look at DeAndre Ayton, and he's doing all those little things right. And the narrative in numerous playoff series this year is bigs get played off of the court. We've seen it in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals where Brook Lopez got played off the court. Now, granted, he was a contributing factor in the game 2 win for the Bucks, but you see with like Porzingis in Dallas and Nurkic in Portland, and Ayton can't be played off the court. And that's special, Suns fans. I mean, we really have a special, unique player in DeAndre Ayton, and he's continually coming through in these big moments. And you're right, Saul, 110%. And everybody says, again, I brought up the statistics earlier. He was 2 for 5 in the second half. They're not feeding him the ball. And you could chalk a little bit of that up to defensive adjustments. They're trying to take him away. They're going to allow Chris Paul and Devin Booker to continue to shoot 3-pointers and mid-range shots if they're not going to hit him. And they're going to squeeze down on DeAndre Ayton. What I can really see is an adjustment moving forward is if they do hit a couple of those shots, DA can feast again. But I feel like this is a continual thing that we've seen all season long. He'll have a great first quarter. He's absent for 7 minutes of the second quarter. He comes down the third, has a positive impact, and we don't see him till 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. The way that Monty Williams runs his rotations, it's not always indicative of allowing DA to just continually cook. But at some point, he's going to have a game that where we're going to see 35-40 from him. And I'm hoping it's in the NBA fucking finals.
But look, you can't play him off the court because he's versatile beef. He doesn't like that big name. So we'll call him versatile beef. He's going to get you them rebounds. He's going to do the little things and find a way to score even when it's not fed to him. Though, and he did that tonight. He continually did it. Look, we can't put lipstick on a pig. It was an ugly game from every aspect for everyone except Ayton on the boards and Ayton offensively. Everything else was pretty damn ugly. But winning ugly is necessary on your way to getting 16 wins in a title chase. You have to win ugly. You're not going to win everything
sure.
like that 9-game streak.
For sure. I mean, again, the game was ugly. The officiating was ugly. And for everybody in the chat that's talking about like the Suns are, blah, blah, blah. The Clippers got it tonight too. Like there was a couple calls that went against them that I was like, okay.
I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, like for real, I mean,
Yeah.
like, so I think they were equally bad for both teams. So I don't really feel like the officials are a total factor as much as other people clearly do. The other thing is I don't know if you guys noticed, but when they called Zubac off of the bench, and I think it was the last free throw, my man was limping, and he had tweaked his knee earlier in the game.
He did.
He was limping onto the court, and I wonder what his availability is going to look like once that thing kind of swells up overnight for Monday. Because if he doesn't go, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Throw Marcus in there, right? Marcus at the big.
God.
That's
Good
going
luck,
to be a
Marcus.
field day for
Marcus,
DA, baby.
Good luck,
real
Marcus.
quick on that officiating. I will say this, okay? It is going both ways. It's bullshit both ways. And when you watch playoff basketball, that happens. Here's a fun thing to do. Here's a fun exercise. What are you doing tomorrow night, Jamsters and Flaming Ballers? Watch the Bucks go to church. It's a Monday, Matthew.
Yeah,
it is Sunday.
No, it isn't. I'm taking a nap.
On you.
Proves how much I walk down. I go to mass. It's been a while.
I walk down the aisle. Is that what
I
you're
walk
about
down
to
the
say?
aisle.
You take communion now? Is that what's going on?
I got married.
But my point here is watch the other series. Watch the Eastern Conference Finals. You're going to see the same shit. When every possession is so vital and carries so much weight, every call is questioned. And we see that as Suns fans because we notice the ones that don't go our way. But think about the ones, as Saul said, that you go, well, I kind of should have went the Clippers' way. Here's the difference, though. Clippers are the top shooting team in all of basketball history relative to free throw percentage made, correct? The Suns are number 2, and both of those teams beat out last year's Suns percentage-wise as the best free throw shooting teams ever. Here's the difference. The Suns were 85% from the line tonight. The Clippers were 65.6. They were 21 of 32. They had 9 more free throw attempts than the Suns, but only 3 more makes. So again, when you hit the playoffs, everything comes down to free throws. And when you're not making the free points, you're not going to win games. And that's what happened. Again, another contributing factor. Nobody can make a shot tonight. Again, I went over. There was a total of 58 total made baskets in this game. Like, I felt like I was watching 90s basketball, and the 3-point line might have just shouldn't have existed. They were all mid-rangers, and everybody was missing it. But when you can't make your free throws, you're not going to win games. And the Suns, in their 2 close games against the Clippers, it was free throws that determined whether or not they won. And they have defeated the team that is the best shooting free throw team in the regular season in the playoffs thus far.
Look, on the refs, too, there was that play at the end, Cam Payne coming down, Batum hits it. That went off Payne. I mean, if they had reviewed it, it would have went the same way it went the other game, and they didn't review
Booker.
But I guarantee you the NBA was like, dude, we can't have that. Like, we can't have that.
Yeah.
Because in real time, you clearly know it's off of Batum. But if you slow it down to the nth percent, it's like, of course it's going to be, it could go any way. But I think the NBA stepped in there. That's why the ref was so quick to be like, nope, it's out of bounds. It's out of bounds. We're not even going to the review.
But I can see why, Suns fans are, the officiating. Clippers fans are doing the same damn thing. They're pointing, going, look, that 2 nights ago, that was, or 3 nights ago, that was, that was out on the Suns, and now you're not even going to look at it. Like, everybody's going to complain about refereeing. That's just the way it happens in the playoffs, and it's bad on both sides. I mean, that is not a factor here. The Clippers may just be a really, really unlucky team compared to where we as Suns fans always thought we were on that spectrum. That may be the case going on here, and I feel for them on that level.
I mean, didn't you? But again, to that point, the ball that was between, I think it was Paul George and Mikal Bridges, where there was this like, the over the top view clearly looked like it was Paul George that touched. Yep. But then the other view looked like it could have been Mikal, and they said jump ball on the floor. And I'm sitting here trying to think, like, there's no absolute evidence that says either one is right. So why don't we just jump the ball? Instead, they gave it to the Clippers. As a Suns fan, I'm like, oh, that's BS. You know what I mean? Like, this is trash.
I think the whole calling it a jump ball on the court is BS because you have to make that call. If there were no review,
decision.
If there's no review, you should be making that call, right?
Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
Whoa.
Let's just take a break here. Shout out to
Jesus.
Code JJM in the chat. Just
I hope you meant to do that.
I hope you weren't meaning for $10 because you said, my apologies for all the Ayton slander. I repent in the name of the Suns, the Dave King, and the Holy Jenner. Amen.
Go say your 5 Hail Marys. You'll be okay.
Yo,
right?
You
no
have been absolved.
You have been
sure you kneel.
Yo, I haven't seen a cut of any of this money. Where's this going?
I don't know. I don't think
there. I don't know where it goes.
It goes to Matthew's Invisalign account. I'm just going to leave that up for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
I went to Catholic school, so I know when you pay that kind of money, you get absolved of anything you'd like. So you were absolved, my friend.
Proto Kid just said Code JJM is the jam star of the
for
night.
sure. Nice job, Code JJM.
We'll remember that. I love that. But if you're talking about fouls too, I'm sorry. Should we go back to the pod?
No.
I feel like shit's ended right there.
No,
to go back to fouls. Booker, everyone had a terrible night. Booker, we need you. These fouls need to stop. 6 fouls in the game to be fouled out. Should not happen in these playoff games. You got to be better. Even early on in the game when he had that shove against Marcus Morris in the back, it wasn't called, but that could have been a technical or something crazy where he just got kind of frustrated with him and pushed off on him. I know it was missed, but things like that kind of just, I'm like, I thought that was kind of behind us in a way, but it's not. And the 6 fouls just should not happen for Booker. He's our star. No one can make a shot tonight, but it doesn't matter, man. He should be in the game at the end. I'm like, but Nader did come in, and Monty loves this guy. He's played pretty good defense in this game, and I don't know how much minutes he's going to get next game, but he did take Torrey Craig's minutes. And I just think that Monty loves this guy, but he does play pretty good defense. So if you're going to have that as a backup, God bless him for being back, and he got pretty good minutes in his first game back in a long time.
You're right, and I got a couple things I want to hit on there before I get into Nader. You know, when you talk about Devin Booker and you look at his performance during the regular season, he had 103 total fouls this year, and 28 of those were offensive fouls. Okay, so he's not necessarily somebody who is consistently committing those offensive fouls. But when you look at his performance in the playoffs thus far, and this doesn't include this game, but I feel like there's a lot more offensive fouls being called on him. You know, I think of his 5 fouls in the last game, 3 of them were offensive. I want to say 3 again occurred tonight. And you can credit the Los Angeles Clippers and Patrick Beverley for putting him in those situations. You can credit the bad refereeing because, again, on that last foul, the 6th foul, I think if they reviewed it and it was a regular season game, they would have called a foul on Reggie Jackson. Am I wrong there?
Yes.
He slapped the reach in?
Yes. The reach in. The whole time. So, again, they're doing those things to throw off Devin Booker. And I think now's a good time to bring up the Devin Booker conversation. You know, ever since he had his amazing game 1, he's really kind of fallen off. You know, you look at the last 2 games, he's 13 for 43. The adjustments that they're making have worked on Devin Booker. We're not seeing the same Devin Booker that we've seen thus far in the playoffs because of the defensive intensity that they're throwing at him. What are your guys' thoughts on Devin Booker thus far, and will we see him get over this hump? Because he's going in a micro slump, which is understandable. I'm not saying Devin Booker sucks. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, he is, you know, if you want to be Kobe, you got to be Kobe.
Hey, look, broken nose is part of this. Patrick Beverley is part of this. And I think it's less, one thing he can do better is try to find his teammates. He's forcing right now. He's pressing in certain situations. But his teammates also need to pick him up as well, because when he's not shooting well, when they're playing that kind of defense on him, other guys have to pick up the slack. Jay Crowder has to hit. McHale has to hit. Cam Payne needs to hit shots. If you're going to have Abdel Nader in there, Abdel Nader has to hit shots. Like, his teammates have to lift him up in this point. And, my guess is the slump ends in game 5 with the chance to throw the knockout blow. At least I hope. But you need the Jay Crowders of the world to start hitting those open looks, because with as much pressure as Beverly and the Clippers are putting on Booker, other guys are getting looks and they need to connect.
Yeah, this isn't the same Suns team that we've seen basically all season, right? Like the last couple of games have been very out of the ordinary or reminiscent of the games that they haven't played well in. This game was just like that. This game was almost no different than the other night. The only difference is that their defensive intensity was much better. And you got to give the Clippers credit for being so crappy tonight. Like they were not very good at all. They couldn't throw. Paul George couldn't throw a rock in the ocean tonight. Like that's part of this. But that's also because of the Suns defense, right? Like they've been playing consistent defense. They played intense from the jump tonight. And that, again, that wears you down. Frank Jackson, dang it. Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, I thought for sure Reggie Jackson was going to tap out of this game. There was a point where he bent over and you could just see him just sucking wind hardcore. And then all of a sudden, like, it's like he got a second win and he was the one that kind of propelled the Clippers in the third quarter towards the end to kind of get them going. And I was like, oh man, Reggie
He
Jackson's
was the captain now?
Yeah, he was the captain. But it didn't last. And I think that's part of the fatigue part of this whole thing is that they've played, 25 out of the last, 30 days? Or I don't know.
For real.
Yeah, but they're basketball players. They can get the hang of it. I mean, they held in with the Suns, but Booker,
wears you down.
Just really quick on Booker, I think him getting to the line is a focus he needs to do, because focus he needs to focus on, which makes no sense. Either he's 0 for 5 from 3 tonight, which is really bad. So those threes he was trying to force and trying to get in a groove shouldn't really exist, because I feel like those kind of those takes should be like a DA pass inside or something to move the ball around, like Nicholas Tansen in the chat. There's no reason to force these threes. We know you're not like a great 3-point shooter, except for that game 6 in LA. So just move the ball, get to the rim. He did that a little bit in the third quarter, and he can draw fouls if he wants to, especially if he removes the mask and his broken nose is exposed. I feel like those refs are going to give him the benefit of the doubt, right? If he's throwing it out there and someone hits him, maybe he'll get a few fouls.
Not in the second half.
Those go away. Yeah, no.
Again, give him the benefit of the doubt.
I think Dave made a point this morning. You would like to see Monty maybe get Booker the ball down low on the block a little bit more instead of trying to create on the perimeter against Beverly.
Agreed.
He has the height mismatch. He has the physicality mismatch. Like, take advantage of that. What's happening right now is that Beverly is almost – he's in his head. You can't deny that. Like, even on the last 2 minutes of the game when Booker was trying to force up that three and Beverly got got his hand on that ball, like, each time you go up for the shot, you're thinking like, I hope he doesn't nick this or doesn't throw me out of my rhythm. And it's just that little percentage that throws you a little bit off. And that's what I think is happening with Devin right now. Like, he's off of his game a little bit. Yes, the broken nose has something to do with it. Not denying that. But Beverly also has something to do with it. I think they're 50-50 right now in terms of who's more effective. And when you see Devin Booker throw the mask off, like, he's not all there. He's not like 100%.
It's in his head.
Booker. Yeah, he's exactly. So that's something he's going to continue to work on. I felt like he came out in a better rhythm tonight to start off. He didn't finish like it. And that's just, maybe wear and tear.
Part of that felt like pace of play to me, though. The first half was fast again,
yes,
right?
It was.
Yeah.
Which is what they did in games 1 and 2. The second half, all of a sudden, grinded to a halt. And that's where Patrick Beverly can body up Devin Booker and slow him down. And the whole Clippers defense can do that to the Suns. And that pace is just not I mean, the Suns got the win tonight playing that way. But I just feel like if you're going to blow the doors off of them in game 5, if you're going to end this thing for good, that pace has to be fast, like you saw in that first quarter and you saw in games 1 and 2. And I know that's not where Chris Paul likes to play, but the greats can adjust and do it, especially for one game to end things, right? By the way, I love that Saul, when he thinks of Reggie Jackson, is like Paul George when he gets to the free throw line. It's a little hitch, and he's got the Frank, and then he picks it back up.
Yeah.
Just when you think Reggie Jackson, think ASU. Think Oakland A's.
Think baseball,
Think baseball. Think Angels. Think the guy who almost tried to kill Queen Elizabeth in Naked Gun. Reggie Jackson, man. Reggie Jackson. That's how I always remember him. Speaking of Chris Paul, and I think that's a good place to transition to Chris Paul, is when we do come back home, I do expect him to play with a little bit more of the pep in his step, if you will. Game 3 was a feel-out game, as cliche as it may sound for Chris Paul, as he was trying to get back into some semblance of playoff basketball shape. He had been sidelined with COVID, didn't play for 11 games after coming off of a season-high 37 points to close out the Denver Nuggets. And then you go into hostile territory. You're playing the Staples Center with their crowd, which I'll give him like a 6.5 out of 10 on their intensity, it looked like, and based off of like what Gina Mizell was saying, that there was a lot of Suns fans there. So kudos if you're a Suns fan who was there at the Staples Center and you're in downtown LA. A tip of the hat to you, my good friends.
Tim Tompkins in the chat, former solar panel host.
Yes, sir.
I think I took his spot. He was in Florida bar saying that it was packed full of Suns fans going crazy and that he'd never seen anything like that. So shout out to him.
Love it.
How many of the shirts and hats still had the tags on them is what I want to know out there in Florida.
You know what's funny is I went at halftime just right up the street to like the local mini mart to grab some more of the Coors Lights that I'm drinking. And the cashier said to me, she's like, "Oh, it's great to see you wearing Suns gear. It's really hard right now to tell the difference between a bandwagoner or a real Suns fan." I gave her my business card for this podcast. I'm like,
were you like, hey? Were you like, "Hey, bitch, I've been in here like the last 20 days."
Whoa, Matthew,
hey,
watch the mouth. We got women on this show.
I would not do that to anybody in customer service, but
never.
What do you think? You're the new head coach of the Portland Trailblazers or the Dallas Mavericks?
Espo for the knockout punch. Damn, son. But to the Chris Paul point, I mean, again, he comes in this game. He's 6 for 22 from the field. He has 18 points, 7 assists, but he was really surgical again in that third quarter and going into the fourth on drawing those fouls and doing all those little things right. He wants to play at that slower pace on the road because he knows that's what takes the crowd out of it. If you're drawing those little bullshit fouls, which we know, we've seen it. My wife was asking me during the game, she's like, "Well, why is he getting a foul called on him? Like, why doesn't he just go get 2 points?" It's like, because you slow that momentum down and you bring the crowd down a little bit, especially when the Clippers were putting together a little bit of that run. And don't get me wrong, they had the best quarters tonight. They scored 30 points in the third. That was the highest point total outside of the Suns having 29 in the first. But is Chris Paul's a way to be surgical, coupled with the fact that he's been out for the past, X amount of days. And I think as we move forward and we go into that game 5 at home, we will see a little bit more of that fast pace. We will see him trying to engage in the offense a little bit sooner.
Yeah, surgical only works in that way when he's hitting those middies, though. Like,
true,
slowing it down, grinding it to a halt, and then shooting and missing is not an effective way, right? That's not going to quiet the crowd. I mean, that's my only problem with it right now.
But getting to the line will.
I like him pushing the pace in the first half. Like, him and Cam Payne, when they switched in and out and they played together too, they were pushing the pace a lot. And I love that. And I think you're right, John, slowing it down, getting the heads of the fans and the players, trying to, take them out of it. But I mean, could we see that maybe next game, second half come in, keep speeding it up, and then Cam Payne comes in and he replaced Booker in the first half a few times. So they played together. But I like them kind of playing together, even though Chris Paul got mad a few times when Cam Payne would take an early shot. But them on the floor together, if Cam Payne can push it with him, I think that's effective. And it's a nice replacement for Booker.
I love people in the chat trying to prove that they're longtime fans. We've got Mike that says, "I was excited about the Sonny Weems signing." So that, yes, you passed the test. Sonny was a very nice man and not the level that was needed.
And you know what? If you're a bandwagoner, if you are a bandwagoner and this is your first time watching the pod, who gives a shit? Welcome aboard. I don't care.
You're not getting our $100.
You're not. Yeah, you don't get the $100 that code through us earlier. But become a flaming baller. Become an elite jamster. Join. Welcome to the party. We've been doing this all year. We've been doing this for a long time. The Sun solar panel's been going on for 4 or 5 years. We've been doing it for a couple. I mean, it's great to see new names in the chat. It's great to see the old names in the chat. It's great to be a part of everything that we're experiencing right now, including the return of the Tornator, the Pyramid Poppy, Abdel Nader made his return for playing his first minutes since March. And as Matthew alluded to earlier, he might have only ended with 5 minutes, but it might have felt like a little bit longer. Why? Did you actually think that he was going to get minutes after being?
No.
But did you think he was actually going to get minutes after he got cleared to play, like over Torrey Craig? I mean, he had 2 fouls in his first 3 minutes. What was Abdel Nader doing out there?
I thought he was break glass in case of emergency if
Me
every
too.
other player fouls out. Like, I did not expect to see him as one of the first guys off the bench. I did not expect to see him at all. I actually thought it was Devin Booker the first time I saw him out there, because the one was kind of folded over the other one, and I go, oh yeah, it's Devin, and then somebody said, no, Abdel Nader's on the court, and you go, what the hell? What is going on here? I don't know. Monty loves that guy, and I don't quite understand it, but
maybe he knows where the bodies are buried.
It might be the length. The length he provides on defense is probably what it is.
And the fact that he attacks the rim. I mean, I wrote a piece for Bright Side of the Sun earlier this season where he literally goes, but I know that he misses, but the Suns' early problem in this season was the fact that they wouldn't get to the foul line and they didn't attack the basket. They were all jump shooting and 3-point shooting. And Abdel Nader was that one exception who, like, every time he got the ball, he just go to the rim. And we saw him do it a couple times. He was 1 for 2 on those takes tonight. So I don't know if that's necessarily why he was brought in. I think that Torrey Craig is a much better play defensively, right, Saul?
But he hasn't been on court since March.
I don't understand somebody that hasn't played a single minute all playoffs. So then all of a sudden you're taking all of Torrey Craig's minutes as if Torrey Craig was just completely inefficient and garbage the entire playoffs. That's not what's happened. I don't understand it, but I'm not Monty. I don't get paid the big bucks, and we won.
Yes.
So I don't give a shit.
Matthew, what do you
think?
We
did win. No, it is very strange, but honestly, I expected it because I think Monty loved him during the whole season. Even though Nader on the offensive end all season didn't do too much, I think he just likes his length on defense. I think that's what the Suns maybe lacked the last 2 games or last game to prevent those threes from going up. But it was only 5 minutes, so I don't know how much to talk about this guy because maybe it's just like warming him up for the finals, warming him up for the rest of the series. Something that, like, if Ty Lue did this, and the media would be going crazy, be like, yeah, get this guy some minutes in a wasted game. If the Suns win, if the if the Clippers win, it doesn't matter, dude. So just give him those minutes.
I can't wait till this 40-point barrage by Abdel Nader. And
you never know, man. Never know.
It's coming.
Lissy believes that Monty Williams led probably the most important game of our season. Let's get Abdel Nader some run in crunch minutes so he's ready for the final.
Let's just waste the game. If we lose, at least he gets those 5 minutes. Get him warmed up. Let him miss that layup.
Well, I mean, is Abdel Nader this year's Elie Okobo? For those of you who are Suns fans for like 20 years in the chat.
No, I don't think so.
But he had an undying loyalty to that guy.
Yes.
Like, he played Ellie way too much last year. And I don't want to spend more than 3 seconds extra talking about Elie Okobo, but
remember, you didn't have Cam Payne at the time.
Yeah, you had Tyler Johnson, and they were trying to find.
Tyler Johnson
he was trying to find his campaign.
Can we stop talking about? I feel dirty.
How about this?
When you mentioned Elie Okobo,
I'm going to change course here. Okay,
Thank
there's
you.
one guy who we do not talk enough about when it comes to starting 5.
I swear,
and that's
Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges. Yes, thank you, Matthew. 13 rebounds tonight, only 6 points.
I got you.
I love Mikal Bridges. Everybody does. He's a 2 blocks, 3 assists. I mean, he's just that stat stuffer who had some really important rebounds tonight, especially on the offensive end. Ended with a total of 3 offensive rebounds, but I felt they came at very critical times. We don't talk enough about Mikal Bridges or Jay Crowder, who was 1 for 8 from the field. But again, I'm not going to put a lot of stock in shooting percentages tonight, given the fact that nobody shot well. But I think the wing depth of our team, especially with Mikal Bridges, has played pretty acceptable basketball thus far. No, nobody.
Mikal Bridges is
littering and speeding. Come on. Now.
Look, I mean, you look at Mikal Bridges. He only took 6 shots tonight, and he was 3 of 6. Like, aggressiveness on the offensive end may have been his biggest problem this evening. It wasn't as if he was shooting poorly. We're not seeing the Mikal Bridges that cuts to the hoop. And that may be in part because the Clippers are just mucking it up in that lane. So that makes it difficult for him to do it. But he did. I mean, he came through with 13 boards tonight. So he's doing the little things. He played very good defense. Again, he's a big part of why they had such success on the defensive end in the second half. So he's helping. I just wish we saw a little bit more offensive.
I wish we could see a little bit more offensively. I also am not a fan of him not really playing as much as it seems like his minutes have been cut back. And you think like a night tonight, like a night like tonight, that when Abdel Nader gets in, that Mikal Bridges wouldn't be the sacrificial lamb either. And, I want to see Mikal Bridges play more. He hasn't been very good offensively. We know this. But defensively and rebounding wise, he can give you everything that he's got. And he's your best option out there outside of the top three. So I would like to see a little bit more. Mikal Bridges had one rebound where I swear his arms just went go gadget from way behind him. And he just whack. And I was like, oh my gosh, what? That might be the silliest rebound I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. So
yeah, I turned to my go ahead. I was just gonna say I turned to my father at that point and I said, his arms are so long he can scratch his shin without bending over. Like it's insane how far that guy can reach and get those boards. And that's what makes him so damn good on defense too, is just that ability to use that length and frustrate guys with it.
And that's the other thing that frustrates me about the fourth quarter is that it just seemed like we were just sticking with the same five guys, not really trying to change anything up, and it just nothing was working. Cam Johnson, I thought, was playing pretty good tonight. He missed a couple threes, but so did everybody else.
We had good defense on Paul George, though.
I
really
thought he was
solid
playing
defense on him.
He's using his body too, man.
I would like to see him play a little bit more. Like I just would, and I think when you get to the NBA Finals, you're going to need, him to step up and play the way like he has in the Western Conference Finals, which I said he would, by the way.
Yeah, and Bridges is honestly his defense has done perfect. All right, he's helping with the rebounds too. It's hard to ask like Deandre Ayton, Mikal Bridges, going into these playoffs to really play past their expectations. I think Deandre Ayton has done it. Mikal Bridges, I know halfway through the season, he started getting that mid-range down in the paint, looking really great there. The pump fakes, doing what EJ always said every broadcast, just throw up a pump fake and go past him. He started doing that. This team might be a little harder to do that. They're a lot longer defensively, I think, but he's doing fine defensively. If he's lost an offense, I'm okay with it as long as he makes the right play. I think last game he made a few mistakes fouling guys when he shouldn't have, but that kind of went away this game. So I think he played a lot better. Offensively, you like to see him to knock down those threes, but honestly, I'm focused on him helping with DA's rebounding, helping the team get the rebounds, and just play that defense, man. That's what we can expect this playoffs and in the finals. Has
it hit anybody else that the Suns just have to go 1-2 in their next 3 games and they go to the NBA Finals?
Yes,
that's insane to me right now. That's where it's at.
Like what the fuck is going on? Like I'm with you, Esco. I was going to get to that here in a second. I want to do just one more quick little point, and then we'll kind of on our outro we'll talk about how we're feeling given the fact that we're up 3-1. But when we're talking about Mikal Bridges, we saw the ESPN announcers once again do the same thing that every national pundit does, is they call him Miles Bridges. Like once a broadcast, it's like Jeff Van Gundy's got to say, he's like, oh, Miles Bridges. It's like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, really? But there is one comment that he stated that I did write down, and I thought it was a very astute observation. He said, the Suns, James Jones, in the offseason, they added skill, age, and edge. And I think that was a very, very well said thing that personifies this team. Don't you gents agree?
Yeah, I don't think the Suns get past the Clippers in this series if they don't have guys like Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, really influencing. Booker has an edge. He's always had an edge, but it needs to be a controlled edge. And I think Chris Paul is doing his damnedest to give him that controlled edge, right? He got a little bit out of control tonight, but I still love the intensity by which Booker, especially against a Clippers team that is trying to be the bully. They are very much trying to be the bully. And Booker, on one particular play, he went up for a layup. He missed. Deandre Ayton got the ball back, put it back up, and Booker like was trying to go over the back of Morris and kind of like give him a little love in the back of the head. And Morris wasn't happy about it. Booker was kind of complaining to the officials, but at the same time, that was kind of like, yeah, we're not here to mess around. Like, you could try and bully us all you want, but listen, Morai twin, go F off because we're here to play. And I love that. I love that intensity.
You can't bully the bully, right?
We are the Sharks.
We're the Sharks. We're the ones who knock. It does not matter. You can try to bully us. We will come right back. And yes, did Devin get a little extra frustrated tonight? Sure he did. And that's as much probably about his offensive struggles as anything. My favorite comment of the night, though, was Mark Jackson when Devin Booker fouled out, going, really smart of Monty Williams to take him out here so he doesn't foul out of the game. And that was my favorite comment of the night from Mark Jackson.
I'm only laughing because I thought the same thing. I'm like, wait, he fouled out. I'm like, why is Booker on the bench? I honestly kind of missed that, but nothing goes over my head, right?
Well, Mike Breen had just said it before that, which is what got me the most. And the graphic on the screen said Devin Booker's fouled out, and Mark Jackson still, hey, smart of Monty to take him out right now.
I think Jay Crowder and Chris Paul really help in between plays, right? I mean, this is the ugliest game ever, but if they can help with officiating and kind of getting in the other team's head, I think that helps a lot. And that's what Jay Crowder provides a lot. Is just, if we saw with LeBron, you see with Paul George, like he just looks at guys a different way, kind of speaks, some kind of mental challenge to the other players to where they're just like, mental challenge. I don't know why I said that.
No, you're right.
He does. I know, but I don't know if I could say that word or not, or the two words. But honestly,
sorry,
I'm just saying, no, it's over.
I just saw a headline that I'm just like, what? Is that really the headline?
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Right. Clippers drop something.
Devin Booker leads Suns to 84-80 win over the Clippers by scoring 25 points. That
is the laziest headline ever.
Is that really the headline here? Like,
that's
I don't
somebody
think
who
so.
just looked at the box score and realized that Devin Booker accounted for 29.7% of their total points.
The headline should have been Booker needs to go to the Kardashians' drawer of noses and find a new one, and then he can get back.
Drawer of noses.
Get back on track.
The drawer of noses brought to you. It's bringing us our show today. By the way, you gotta love the Lissy-isms that come up throughout the show. We need more shirts with Matthew's sayings. I think we need that.
Come on, Matthew, design those up, dude. All the profits will go to you.
No, it's all
Well,
right.
okay. If you're going to be lazy, then I'm not going to be lazy. Although it is pretty lazy to analyze who the recipient of this award is.
Jam Star of the Game.
This is your reminder to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you're watching along live, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the little bell that notifies you when we go live, which is after every game. And also in the chat, let us know who your Jam Star of the Game is. Matthew, I'll start with you this time. Who's your Jam Star of the Game?
It's Ayton, even though I wish he would have took advantage of more of having the ball in the second half and the team just keep feeding him. He's a big beefer tonight, dude. So he is Jam Star of the Game.
Big beefer. Espo, what do you think?
Paul George again. Thanks for missing
thank you.
Another free throw. I think there was nothing better to me than Paul George missing that free throw, and then they cut to Steve Ballmer, and he's just got his hands in his hands, and he's just dismal. I thank you, Paul George. You've made what could have easily been a different series in the Suns' favor. So
real quick, Luke Carter in the chat, we need a new segment called Weird Takes with Lissy. That's the entire podcast. That's the whole beauty of it. That's the whole show. We could name it that.
Weird.
The Suns
now
Jam
you know why
Session.
I like Kyrie Irving so much. This is Weird Takes.
Weird Takes with Lissy.
You are definitely the Kyrie Irving of this group. I will say that for sure.
That's fine.
I mean, it's obviously DA, but I also want to give a shout out to all the fans apparently that were up in Staples Center making some noise. Rachel Nichols actually tweeted about it, talking about there's more people at this game than there were at Game 3, and or more Suns fans. And I mean, shout out to those that made the trip or that were already living in LA and were like, I need to go out here because they ain't coming back, baby.
Oh man,
good take.
Well, you know what? He was so good. He gets a second drop.
Ayton Watch 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton gets his second drop. And you know what? Again,
drop.
I'm going to give it to code JJM for dropping that $100 in the super chat. His jam star of the game was Paul George for missing those free throws again. So code JJM, you're a jam star. DeAndre Ayton was clearly the jam star in this game. His ability to just, again, step up when the Suns need him. You know, if somehow, some way, this team can hoist up the Larry O'Brien trophy, I never want to hear anybody compare him to Luka Doncic again. I don't give a shit what he's doing in this playoffs alone, accepting his role, knowing that he doesn't have to be the superstar, but he is going to be the guy that is needed to help this team win, is phenomenal. It's fantastic. You don't see this from number one picks. Number one picks need the ball all the time. They need to be ball dominant. He just goes in there, accepts his role, and does what he does tonight. Again, 19 points, 22 rebounds. I mean, it's just been fantastic. What do you think, Espo?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think code JJM needs another shout out. You can be my jam star along with Paul George. You guys can share that. Anybody that drops a hundy on us gets an extra shout out and some respect from me.
For sure. I mean, again, he's just been so phenomenal. And we always talk about in team sports being the ultimate team player, being a team player, caring about your teammates. DeAndre Ayton is the epitome of caring about his teammates, doing what his team is asking from him to do. Again, I've said it a million times and I'll say it a million more. I'm so proud of that kid. He's always been about his team, even at U of A, even in high school. And now he's about to start to reap the benefits of that, because if they do win the NBA Finals, you know these guys are going to start getting some love nationally. They're going to start getting some more endorsement deals. You're going to start to see Mikal Bridges and DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker specifically getting some love in some of these national ads like Chris Paul does. I'm telling you, they're on the verge of superstardom because of team success, which is exactly why you draft these players, is because you want them to chip in with team success and take you to the top. DeAndre Ayton, amen. I'm so happy you're on this team. Good job, buddy.
I'm just happy I was beating that drum all year. Go ahead, Matthew.
Ayton's great, but just jamming on the Suns, almost $20 to the pot.
Yeah, well,
1993. I like that.
Well played,
Nice.
jamming on the Suns.
Oh,
donated
yeah.
1993 in the
Almost
super
$20.
chat. Magical season. Enjoying these pods all season has been a huge part of the ride. Much appreciated. It's been a huge part of the ride for all of us to provide you with this content constantly and consistently. Again, Matthew and I have been live after every game. The Sun Solar Panels every Saturday. You can catch them. And I think that it's, again, going back to Espo's point.
Hey, Tracy Esposito. Hey.
I think my bank account just logged into the chat there.
We are one win away from the NBA Finals. Thoughts?
I have some breaking news, actually, gentlemen.
Break
this
it.
Just in. DraftKings free-to-play pools are keeping it cool all summer long. Choose from a wide variety of free contests to enter the pool and answer a handful of questions. Make picks for free and grab your share of $10,000. That's right, $10,000 in weekly prizes. Dive into the DraftKings pools today. Entering is easy. Just download the DraftKings app and head to their pools page. Select from many different contests that DraftKings has, ranging from evening sporting events to wacky weather Wednesdays. That's right. That's when it's going to be 93 here on Wednesday. That's wacky
That's
weather
beautiful
in Arizona. Then make your picks and watch the action unfold. Entries with the most correct answers will be deemed the winners, which I still think that's the way all winners usually work, but that's the way they'll deem the winners. Now that you know how to play, download the DraftKings app and sign up using the code DRYHEAT. All players will have a free shot at grabbing $10,000 in weekly prizes. If you didn't hear me, $10,000 in weekly prizes without spending a dime. That's code DRYHEAT to feel the sweat only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. We just have to get the sponsors.
Matthew, can you hold up your shirt real quick?
I want DraftKings. Yeah, what?
All right, see these shirts that Matthew and I are. No, please, God, no.
Don't lift it up. Just hold it up.
We
had
a couple people in the chat asking where we got these shirts. Just Sports, again, shout out to them. This is the part of the podcast where we just throw a lot of ads at you.
The Suns Jam Session podcast is brought to you by Just Sports.
Enter the code SUNSJAM at checkout for any of your online orders and receive 15% off of your purchase. That's right. Let them know that the Suns Jam Session guy sent you. Again, that is promo code SUNSJAM when checking out at shopjustsports.com. Boom shakalaka. There you go. All right. 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Thoughts, Matthew? Go.
We said they would win it, but I thought it would be a sweep, but it's going to be in 5. So I'm looking forward to Monday night to celebrate going to the finals. I mean, Monday night's going to be a crazy night, right, John? We got to find a spot. Call out the next day.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. We should find a spot for us all to congregate and watch this hopefully final game of the Western Conference Finals because, I just feel like I should celebrate with you guys.
I hear you.
So you get us a suite and we'll be there.
Can we sit courtside with you, Saul? You and DeAndre Hopkins? Is it cool?
I gotta go, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
yeah, that's usually how that goes when it comes to that.
What was the final score on the golf course with Eddie?
I think I lost by 3 strokes, but we play like combat golf. So like there's like putting things and driving things that can win you money. So I ended up losing $11, but I won 15 from another guy. But I won 15 from another guy, so I came
plus
out 4.
So
I was thinking hundreds. You're not betting hundreds, just.
I mean, you could lose hundreds, yeah, but I'm not. I'm not shitty, Matt. I'm pretty fucking good.
Look, Eddie. Eddie is a brave man to play combat golf with a guy that has fatigues hanging over him in his podcast studio. All right,
Eddie is a 9 handicap. He's pretty good.
Jeez, I'm a 20.
He's got the time to do it. All right.
This is true. And he was a little bit off at the beginning of his round because he was on the Dan Patrick show. So it was
got him
while you were playing. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sinking those butts. Final thoughts as we get ready for the game on Monday, Game 5. Let's go around the room one last time and just tell me what you're thinking, how you feeling. Again, this is so much fun, guys. This is so much fun.
It's not over. It's 3-1. This Clippers team is like it's like that bug you think you keep killing and they still come back and it's just like, so the Suns just got to take care of business. They got to come in with the right mindset. Devin Booker and Chris Paul, I'm looking at you. You're 24 for your last 84. I'm going to need a little bit more in Game 5 to finish this team off because you can't expect the Clippers to shoot as poorly as they did tonight, nor should you expect the Suns to shoot as poorly as they did tonight. I think the Suns come out with the crowd behind them and they take care of business. I'm excited to see what happens on Monday, and I have good feelings and good thoughts. Here we go.
It's not over now, but it's over on Monday. All right, you can bust out the however you want to do it, the Vince Carter, whatever, however you want to say it's over on Monday. All right, it's over on Monday. This team's going to come out. I don't know that the Clippers have much left. They looked like a team that was spent at the end of that game, and the Suns team needs to go out there and play 48 minutes of strong basketball on Monday with the crowd behind them and give themselves time to rest for the NBA Finals. This is a huge game. Get it done on Monday.
Are we allowed to riot too?
Can I say something real quick? Not for the Western Conference Finals there, Matthew, no.
Yeah, you're right.
For the NBA
right.
Finals, go ham, but not for
Yeah.
But can I also say, like, the stars are kind of aligned for the Suns because the Bucks and the Hawks are going to play tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bucks or Hawks win, they'll be 2-1. They still got 2 more games to play. And so the Suns might have like almost 2 weeks off before they finally get to the NBA Finals, which is pretty insane.
I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll see, but it gives Chris Paul time to get back in basketball shape. So that's good. Look, we don't condone rioting in any way, shape, or form.
Unless you're Devin Booker.
Have a good time. All right. Find a way to have a good time if they win on Monday.
Final thoughts, Matthew.
If they win, we should start a march, free the nipple down 7th Street, whatever you guys want to do. I'll be down there. We won't riot yet though, right?
No, if I see your nipple, I'll riot.
Don't. I'll have to take him out. He'll pull it out right now. You don't care for what you ask for.
I didn't ask for it. I
I'm
said I'll
sorry.
buy it.
That was stupid. Let's end the pod on a good note. I love you guys.
Let me finish with my final thoughts. We're going into Game 5, coming home with an opportunity to win the Western Conference Finals. This is a team that won 19 games 2 years ago. This has been an unbelievably fun ride, exciting ride. But I'll tell you, as we get to this point in the season, it's not unexpected. This team has performed time and time again, exceeded expectations to the point where knowing that they have an opportunity to put the cigarette butt out, to take Dario's Parliament Light out of his mouth, put on the ground, do some Olivia Newton-John shit on it. And again, Saul, I'll send you a GIF of that later so you understand what that is. This is an opportunity for them to really put this team out of their misery. We took their best 2 shots. We did in Game 2. We took a good one in Game 3, in which they won. But tonight at home is a game that they should have won, and the Suns outlasted them. So hopefully we can put that foot on their throat and win the Western Conference on Monday. So, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Subscribe on YouTube. We're on Twitch. Smash that like button while you're here. Become an Elite Jamster or a Flaming Baller by clicking the join button in the link in the description. Feel free to donate. Subscribe, rate, and review, all that fun stuff. It's been a hell of a ride. It's been fun doing these every game afterwards with all of you gentlemen, and I look forward. We got to figure out what we're going to do on Monday. I'm really looking forward to Saul getting us in the building. Can we
give the people what they want?
What are
Can we hit the Dario's smoke break once?
The Sarge smoke break.
We don't have to talk about him. We could.
We're not going to talk about it.
That's all.
It's not right if we don't do it without him. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us, and we will see you live after the game on Monday. Have a great night.
Go home and at least a nipple for the family.
Damn it. I said it first, though.
What'd you say, Matthew?
I said everyone go home and love your family. That was
okay.
Espo,
I was just making sure there was you didn't say go home and flash a nipple or something.
That's what I supposed to say.
That's what I supposed to
You go home and love your family. You orange-rimmed glasses son of a bitch.